If you've been writing content for a while, then you've probably seen your organic traffic dip in the last year, and that sucks. But the good news is there's a simple solution to help pull some of this back. And no, I'm not talking about on page optimization or trying to parasite traffic off of Reddit or other platforms. Even better, the solution takes about 5 minutes to set up. However, most people don't know about this, and the ones that do know about it or have heard of it are using it wrong. So let's break this down. In August of 2025, Google launched something called preferred sources for news publications only. The idea being that people could select specific news websites that they liked, and when if those sites had a story on a topic that the user was searching for, that site would show up in the search for them. This way, the user always got the point of view from the journalists they trusted, rather than some kind of rage-baiting YouTuber. The website would also feature this pretty nifty preferred source tag, or even a heavily cited tag next to it, so you can see that these are legit sources. So why do we care about this? Well, let's be honest, AI search kind of sucks, and Google knows this. They were in such a race to put it out, but the quality of the content that it recommends has been all over the place, with garbage information like adding glue to cheese so that it doesn't slide off your pizza. It's not just the insane answers either, though, because the BBC found that up to 45% of the info being shared in AI search results was just plain wrong. So it's not great, right? Especially once you realize that Google is essentially a user experience company, especially when it comes to search. Why does this matter? What do I mean? Well, if people stop getting the results they want, then they'll stop using Google, which is why they actually started to lose users to other platforms for the first times in about a decade. So, in an effort to fix this, Google is now allowing all websites to use this preferred sources feature also. So, for example, here you can see my blog showing up with the preferred tags when I search for results around content marketing for solopreneurs and small businesses. Google's thought process is that if it can get users to add the sites that they like, it'll help improve the quality of the results that they show them in the AI search. It's great for the user, it's great for Google because people don't leave, and it's great for you because you'll actually start showing up more for that AI search traffic. It's actually really easy to use also. All you need to do is get your readers to click a link that loads up a page that looks like this. And then once they're on the page, they simply need to just tick a box to say that your website is a source that they want to see more of when they search. It takes the user around 2 seconds to do. They literally click, tick, and that's it. But now, when they search for a topic that you have content on, assuming you rank and things like that, your website is going to come up as an option, whereas before it might have been missed. Super handy, right? However, it's worth pointing out that this will only affect the AI search of the people who tick this box. It won't affect the general public. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why use this if it doesn't affect all AI search traffic? Why bother if we're only affecting people who are already reading my content and not impacting everyone else? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Reason one is you need multiple touch points to make the sale. As you know, only a very small percentage of your site visitors will buy from you right away when they find you. The vast majority, somewhere around 98% of your website traffic, will need multiple touch points instead, where they learn more about their problems and what they need to solve them and so on. So what happens is they usually Google something, find your content, Google something else a few days later, and then something else a week later, and so on until they're ready to become a customer. Because of this, the best case scenario is to turn readers into leads using something like my hyper-specific offer method that you can check out in the description below. This way you can then email them this content and help move them towards becoming a customer much faster and make sure that you don't lose them. However, even like this, not everyone will opt in. So the second best scenario is that they keep coming back to you via search using this method. Reason number two is most keyword traffic is from the same people. I've kind of hinted at this already, but most people don't realize it, is that if you can do this, it's going to impact your AI search in your traffic reports. We often make the assumption that each of those different articles and keywords are different people searching, but usually it's the same people searching those different topics at different points in the journey. And so by getting them to add us as a source at whatever point, it means they're more likely to click follow-up search terms when they see us in those results, thus improving our traffic in the reports. So the TLDR is this won't impact people who haven't set you up as a source yet, but it will impact your touch points and sales from the people who do. There's also the argument to be made for the psychological principle to get someone to make a small yes and take a minor action. It helps build trust, but that's a little nerdy for the topic of this video. Suffice it to say, it's definitely worth doing this. However, and I cannot stress this enough, do not follow the common advice for how to set this up. Do this instead. The first step when you're setting this up is to create a custom link that takes your reader to the preferred sources page. Super easy to do. You simply take this URL that's on the screen right now, google.com/preferences/source, !Q equals yourwebsitehere.com. And then where it says your website here, you're going to change that so that it's your actual homepage. So, for example, for me, it would be google.com/preferences/source q equals at mycontent.com. Now, if you didn't add your domain, it would just take them to preferred sources blank page, and that's fine, but they'd have to search for you manually, find you, and then tick. And that's more effort than we want to put them through because the less effort you can make anyone do anything, the more chance that they'll actually follow through and do it. So by adding your domain in the link in the URL like this, it'll now show your website automatically on the page as the option with the tick box ready to just be ticked. Much easier for them. However, we have a problem, and it all comes down to how people are setting this up and why it's not working for them. So let me explain. Google are really trying to push this, and so they've tried to make it easy for developers to add this as a feature to their website by giving us pre-designed embed buttons that you can just download straight from their website. You can literally take the button, upload it wherever you want, attach your link to it, and it'll work when clicked on. The thing is, why on earth would anyone want to click on it? For example, you've actually probably seen a bunch of these and not even realized. Here you can see one of these pre-made designs being used over on the Nerdist blog. Kind of hidden amongst a bunch of different calls to action, which is a problem in itself, really. But honestly, it wasn't until I was writing this guide and recording this video, and I knew what these were, that I even paid it any attention. I've probably seen it 50 to 100 times while browsing their stuff and not even noticed it. Search Engine Journal do it a little bit better in that they've got the button larger and they have a custom design, as you can see here. However, this still isn't really good enough, simply because there's zero reason for the reader to click on this, so it just fades into the background and it's ignored. Why should the reader care about this? What's in it for them? Do they even notice it? If you want anyone to take an action, you have to make it simple, but you also have to give them a reason that benefits them, and these buttons just don't cut it. So, what's the solution? Well, I've got three good methods, and I recommend you use all of them. Option one is to write a unique call to action inside of your new articles and tailor it to the content. Because if they're enjoying the article that they're reading, there's a good chance that they want more like it in the future. For example, I have an article version of this video, and this is the one I used. Side note, AI search sucks, and it's hard to always find good content. So if you're enjoying this post and you want to learn how to get more traffic in the future, I've got a solution for you that just takes 2 seconds. If you click this link and tick the box on the page that loads up, Google then show you more of my tutorials next time you're searching. This way you'll be able to find my guides and not random nonsense written by an AI. Easy, right? So I tailor it to the topic of the article. I tell them the problem, bad search experience. I share the benefit and make it specific, more content on topics like this so you don't have to keep trying to find them. And I tell them how easy it is to do it. Now, not everyone will do this because they might mean to do it when they finish reading and then they forget. So we can do these next options also. So the people on your email list already love you and your content, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't prefer to see it more often when they search. For example, I know for a fact that websites that I used to read all the time are still publishing content every week. I just never see them in the results. And your readers are probably experiencing the exact same thing when it comes to your own content. So just send them an email broadcast and ask them to add your site as a preferred source. Simple. Again, explain the problem, tell them the solution, give them the link to click. Super simple. Now we can take this one step further also and automate it. So when someone first joins your email list, they are usually a really warm lead and they're quite receptive. That's why one of the first things that most email automations do is ask people to whitelist their email so it reduces the chance of getting lost in the spam filter. People want to do it because they're like, oh my God, yeah, I do actually want more of this stuff, but they're also super receptive. Knowing how receptive they are, you can simply ask them to do one more thing and add you as a preferred source at the same time. Super simple. So as you can see, although this isn't a perfect fix to the whole AI traffic drop issue, it is a very easy win that you can set up in 5 minutes. Better still, it can have a direct impact in your ongoing AI search traffic while also increasing the chances of those return visits and multiple touchpoints which lead to the sale. Not bad for 5 minutes of effort, right? The trick, of course, is that this only works when you've set it up. So go ahead and give this a try for your own website now, and then check back in on your AI search traffic in 90 days and see how it's been impacted. And if you don't know how to track your AI search traffic, watch this video next. I think you might be shocked. When I tested this with a client, we saw a 16% lift in Google AI search clicks almost immediately. So definitely give it a go.